Now we are delighted to say, coming all the way down from Balefarish, I have two extraordinarily glamorous women. I've got the gorgeous Dlishus O'Tool.
Hello.
Dlish, welcome to Dublin.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And I've also got the multi-talented and equally gorgeous Amanda Sparrow-Large. Amanda, welcome to LGBTQ Life.
Thank you. It's lovely to be back in Dublin again. I've been not living in Dublin for 10 years now, so it's nice to be back for a change.
Yep. Dlish, I'm going to talk to yourself first because you came in our radar about 6 months ago as a new act on the scene. How have you been received up in Belfast?
It's been going absolutely amazing. I'm actually doing a lot of the work in the mainstream as well. I was at Belfast Alternative Fashion Week. I was hosting that great show with Shelley Rogers from Equal Magazine and Kieran Sherry. So it was absolutely amazing. And then I just did the Local Woman Awards, and now I'm doing Ireland's Alternative Eurovision contest, so I'm absolutely excited. Yeah.
What is it about Belfast? This is something that is... I've always found that Belfast produces more, as we say, gorgeous women with a little extra.
Yes.
Than it probably goes back to the days of Madame George, but I don't know why it is, but Belfast has, as I say, it's a creative hub for that genre.
Very much so. I think a lot of it had to do with Tina Legs Tantrum, a very, very famous drag queen from Belfast, actually an icon and a legend up there. She did a very famous talent show for drag queens called Opportunity Frocks, and it ran for 10 years, and a lot of drag queens, as you know, actually auditioned and actually was on the show. Actually supported the show in different ways through O2 Network, as I'm their mascot at the moment, so that's quite fabulous as well.
Yeah. Is drag queen a term you prefer, or is there another term you would use?
Well, I get called drag queen, but I get also called performance artist as well, which is fabulous.
Amanda, I'm going to come to yourself because you are the inspiration for the show we're going to talk about. But before you got involved in that, you were also, how can I put it, you were the alter ego of Captain Jack Sparrow. What's the story behind that?
Well, I've done a lot of things over the years. I've always worked in the entertainment business, I guess. Yes, I did some impersonation as Captain Jack Sparrow. Before that, I had done some drag over in Scotland myself as a bio queen. But I wasn't really sure that there was a thing over here as being a bio queen, so I was kind of doing the whole male female being a male, but that didn't ever really felt natural to me. I prefer being a woman, but a very over the top woman, and so I did it for a couple of years, and yeah, I mean, I definitely got my name out there. But now I am doing some bio drag as well. So recently I've done a pilot for an American TV sitcom.
Explain for the listeners, what's bio drag?
A bio drag, a bio queen is a queen that's biologically female. So so I am female. I literally only came out myself about 6 or 7 months ago. I've struggled very much with my sexual orientation over the years. I've always kind of known that was something different, but I couldn't really find a category that that I felt comfortable with until last year. So that was a big deal for me as well.
We'll get the political stuff out of the way. The South loves to think of itself now. We're very progressive, we're very forward-thinking. It wasn't always that way. How difficult is it in your part of the world? I mean, would it change overnight? Would the mindset for you change overnight if they introduce marriage equality? We'll get the political stuff out of the way.
Sure.
The South loves to think of itself now. We're very progressive, we're very forward-thinking. It wasn't always that way. How difficult is it in your part of the world? I mean, would it change overnight? Would the mindset for you change overnight if they introduce marriage equality?
Well, for me, things have changed so much from when I was young, because I'm in my mid-40s now. And I mean,
you're not. No, you're
I
not.
Am.
You're only
Thank you. Twice today I've been told. But yeah, I mean, things have came up. I mean, so much. I mean, that's why I struggle so much with my sexuality for many, many years, because of the era that I come from. Ireland is so progressive now. I mean, the general consensus up north is it's fine. There's really no there's no issues apart from politically, but yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously still you've got the DUP who are still really, you know, kind of digging their heels in, but general public, I mean, it's
very much like that with the general public. The general public are very, you know, open to drag queens. They're open to their community.
Yeah.
I think there is, you know, sections of the community who are, you know, against, you know, LGBT equality, but I don't think it's because they're against the LGBT. I think they're not really involved enough. I think people need to be more involved in each other's situations and groups, and I think that's the reason why there's probably a bit of a divide in Northern Ireland regarding that.
I mean, 10 years ago when I moved up to Northern Ireland, I moved up for the reason that I still felt that Southern Ireland was still, well, one of the reasons, was still very much behind the times, and Northern Ireland, technically being part of the UK, was more progressive, but it's completely turned around in the last 10 years. It's totally changed around. It's far more progressive here now than it is in
actually.
the north.
You actually see, you know, 14-year-olds both holding hands in the middle of Belfast. You wouldn't get that like 15 years ago.
They don't need to have a vote in the north. We, you know, technically we didn't either, but we did have one. But if they had a vote up the north, how do you think it would go? Would it be as overwhelming as it was down here?
I think it will be. I think it's very much so. There's a lot of people are just, you know, we're not. It's kind of like the old word most people would say.
It's very much in the minority, I think. People who don't want marriage equality, very much in the minority, I definitely think. I mean, even people who are not part of the LGBT community are still very much in favour of marriage equality. It's only a very, very small proportion of people, but unfortunately some of those are in power and are politicians.
Well, as we discovered, the sky didn't fall in, did it? You know, all we did was we had a lot of great...
Pride last year in Belfast. Pride last year in Belfast was like the biggest Pride ever. I mean, it was huge. I mean, you know, there was a few protesters, but they were just completely, I mean, other years you would notice the protesters, but last year there was so many supporters that they weren't even noticeable. They were just like in the background.
I remember when we were hippies back in the day, Belfast, sadly before before what I call the domestic took place, Belfast was a really hip place. I mean, Belfast in the 60s was just really, really hip. You were producing all the good music. You were producing all the good personalities.
Yes.
And I just felt that was one of the real tragedies of what happened is that it was almost like culturally, it atrophied. But look, we've got yourselves now.
I know.
Isn't that the beauty of it, that it's coming back, and that's what I really. My mother's family came from the north, so I'm particularly Belfast, so I'm a big fan of the city, and
and of course Linda Martin. Not a lot of people know that Linda Martin is actually from the Shore Road in Belfast.
Is she?
Yes, that's where she hails from, which is just literally around the corner from where I live. So, but of course she's kind of adopted Southern Ireland as her home for many years now, but she is from Belfast.
Well, Linda is a living treasure. That's
absolutely.
That's
she's
what
a
I would
legend.
say. She is a living treasure.
Yeah.
Now let's get on to Eurovision, because now I spent probably all of the 80s and half of the 90s in Australia, and I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't watch Eurovision because it was because I tell you why, it was because it was like a sing and dancing version of the Rosa Tralee. It was like it was hackneyed, and then how can I put it, the Iron Curtain collapsed. We brought in these Eastern Europeans, and my word, hasn't it turned into an extravaganza.
There's a lot of mainstream singles that have done extremely well. Like one of the big songs that everybody really loved was in 5 years ago, Euphoria by Lorraine. That was an amazing song.
I was going to ask you, what's your favourite Eurovision of all time?
Well, it has to be that song, because it was special, because there was a special Eurovision night in Union Street, and we were just sitting there having all different types of culture of food, which was amazing, and drinks and beer, German beer, all that kind of stuff, and that song came on and we were all blown away.
It was our generation, really, wasn't it? I mean, anybody who had ever been to a rave, it was like, this is it.
Yes.
It's an amazing song. It's a fabulous song. I mean, everybody loves it. Everybody loves that song. Of course, for me, I would have to say my favourite is, of course, 1992 when Linda won with My Me. Linda is a very good friend of mine, apart from professionally. I'm very much into the dog rescue, and she's the one who got me into that. Yeah, I mean, I was actually meant to go that year in 1992. But I had been out partying the night beforehand, and I had ate raw fish because I was that drunk I didn't actually cook it, and I got severe food poisoning, and I couldn't go. So I was actually literally lying in bed watching her winning, and it was like an amazing experience watching her win. But yeah, it was a tragedy that I didn't get to go. I've never had raw fish since.
How do you feel now that we've got female impersonators in it? Because I have to admit, if there's always a choice between Dana Domestic and Dana International, give me Dana International. And if you've seen since she's transformed, she's Miss World Standard. I mean, how do you feel now that we've embraced those acts? Because we've also got Conchita as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing because we need to, move for diversity, equality. I think it's so important for our society. It's very important for our kids growing up because I think back in the 90s, where I grew up in the late 90s, I really do think, kids are confused a lot about what goes on TV, and a lot of people say there's a lot of negative stuff on TV, but I really do think that it's actually opening kids' minds, and there's more that they feel accepted within society more. I think.
Yes, we're doing stuff. We're doing stuff for our own now, but I think we're doing a huge service for particularly Eastern Europe, where homophobia is absolutely rife in certain parts of the world. Because I had a Serbian friend, and he was saying if I saw two men holding hands in front of my son, I'd hit them. Because it'd be an affront.
And we tend to forget that,
we tend to forget that, don't we?
Even looking at, I mean, yes, we don't have equality up north, but I mean, we're a lot better off than some other countries. Yes, and sometimes 100%. We do forget that. Yeah. We really do.
They don't lock you up, and you probably can walk. I'm sure Dlishus could actually go home in that glamorous outfit without expecting a smack in the back of the head.
Oh, 100%, because actually I get quite a positive reaction.
I bet you do.
Oh yes, like very much so.
A few phone numbers even.
Oh yes, I do get all types of people from different ways of the community, and they actually really respond well to Dlishus because I kind of like represent a mainstream act. So.
And the fact that she was actually performing at local woman awards, which is aimed at women, biological women, and I mean she was actually performing at that. That was a huge step to the mainstream.
And all the politicians were there.
Anybody who would look at you and start thinking of gender, I think, is because you present a certain way, you present extraordinarily glamorous. I mean, isn't that enough?
Well, I think you can always do more. There's more to come. I always think of that all the time, definitely.
And that's very much what Equal Magazine, the sponsor of the alternative Eurovision, is about. Transgender models, amputees, models with disabilities. It's kind of because traditionally in entertainment, that was the fringes, that was outside of the mainstream, and if you fitted into any of those categories, you weren't going to get modelling jobs, it would be only a certain maybe clubs that you would get to play in and stuff like that. So it's very much like pushing the boundaries out and just making it all inclusive. Let's bring and even going back to Linda Martin. I worked on the Linda Martin petition when she got let go from Eurostar because of her age. I mean, that was ageism, and replaced with somebody with not near as much experience. So I mean, it's about saying like the entertainment industry modelling. It's not about age, it's not about gender, it's about equality. It's about if you're the best person for the job, then
Well, you'd be pleased to know that in Dublin these days the must go to events are pretty much all drag. I mean, there's a new one starting, there's a new night starting in Drop Dead Twice with my good friend Ren Dennehy. They had the queer cabaret on over Easter. An act to keep an eye out for is Marion Mary from Donegal. So look, it's all happening. Anyway, Amanda, tell us, what was your inspiration for the alternative Eurovision?
So on the 10th of May in the George, well, it kind of stemmed from the fact that we wanted to raise money for Dogs Aid, which is
a noble
Linda's, which is a charity that's very close to Linda's heart. Obviously, I've been involved in publicity and entertainment for years. Big fan of the Eurovision. Coming up with the Eurovision, so we were just like really kind of throwing around ideas of what we could come up with. So I wanted to do something Eurovision themed, but initially it was kind of started off as Eurovision Party, and I was like, that's kind of old. So then you know, I said, right, okay, let's have a Eurovision contest. You know, particularly there's a lot of people this year who's got bits of issues with, you know, with the whole Israel thing with the Eurovision. So then we got, we're looking for sponsors, and we got Equal Magazine on board, who, you know, they run London and Belfast Alternative Fashion Week. So then it became the alternative Eurovision Song Contest. So, you know, so that's really how it kind of developed from there. So
what format's it going to take?
It is going to take pretty much the same format as a normal, you know, contest, in the sense that there's going to be 12 competitors. There's going to be the judging panel. Dlishus is one of the judges, because Dlishus is actually an amazing singer
That's
as
what I was
well.
wondering.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to be a performer in it.
Yes, I
representing maybe Serbia or
yes,
Montenegro.
She's going to do a guest song on the night.
yes, definitely.
Yes, yeah. And of course, Linda Martin is going to be one of the judges. I mean, who needs no introduction? Niamh Walsh, who is a showbiz.
Another Eurovision icon.
Yes, and then of course Shelley Rogers, who is the founder of the Equal magazine, and of course the Alternative Fashion Weeks. So she'll be coming from very much the aesthetic point of view, because obviously one of the prizes is, you know, a spread in Equal magazine, which will be a boost.
Equal magazine's actually a very, very amazing alternative magazine.
Well, the name says it all, doesn't it?
Oh yes, very much so.
So are they going to be original songs, or would we be having a bit of lip syncing?
No lip syncing, they have to sing, because it is a singing contest. We put it out there, you know, you can do a cover song or you can do an original song, but to be honest with you, most of them are going for original songs. I think there's only 2 that's going to do cover versions. Most of them are going for original. So we've got a very, very big mix of contestants. We've got like some that are doing it in drag. We've got some that there's one that's going to do it completely acoustic with no backing track. So so there's a very, very big mix. And of course, another part of the prize is that the performers are going to perform at Pride in Newry this year, which is hosting.
It's going to be huge. It's actually going to be Pride UK 2019.
Yeah. Will there be any acts that we might have heard, or will we have to wait till next week or 2 weeks' time?
We haven't announced them yet, but yes, they're all kind of up and coming. A couple of them, maybe if you're into social media and stuff, you might have seen seen them on social media. But some of them I've not heard of before. But they all look, they're very much into it, and they all look amazing, really. Yeah.
And what will you be singing, Dlish?
Well, I have to have a look. I've got a few songs in mind, but it's kind of rehearsals at the moment, so...
Sure, what can I say? I would always be putting my money on a ginger.
Big live vocals, definitely.
You've got judges. You won't be doing the telephone voting or anything like that, or is there any way of doing that?
Not this year, because obviously it's our first year and there's really no budget, unfortunately. And we are kind of even looking for people to kind of sponsor some of the things still, like flowers and balloons and stuff like that for the night. But we are hoping to make this an annual thing. So now that we have our sponsors, which are Equal Magazine, because obviously when it started off we didn't have a sponsor. So next year we're thinking about holding heats like Galway, Cork, Belfast, and then having our big final in Dublin. And so hopefully next year we'll have a lot more time to plan it. Of course that depends on whether it's a success or not, which I mean we very much hope it will. There's a lot of buzz about it on social media, there really is. So
a lot of the excitement has also got international responses as well, due to the fact of who's in the competition. Like Linda Martin is really well respected. Of course, I love one of her songs too from the 80s.
Terminal 3, that's actually the theme of our ad, is the remix of Terminal 3, because she released a remix for that last year.
Just to clear the air for people, because when I put this up, people were, particularly people I know who were Jewish, they were saying, what are you promoting that for? And I said, it's entertainment. This is not political. This is entertainment.
And it's the alternative Eurovision, So, we're like anything goes, you know. It's World Equal is our logo, so you
could have even called it the glamorous Eurovision, but then again, Eurovision itself is fairly glamorous. But tell me now, what's important for that? What we call the bums on seats argument. You can't. Is there an entrance fee, or is there? Do you have to book, Amanda?
Well, you can pre-book, because obviously the George on a Friday night is going to be busy anyway, because and they have very kindly allowed us to have the entrance fees for that night, because they normally charge €8 in, so it'll still be the same price as the normal entrance to the George, but the George are donating that to our charity on that night.
To the George,
So yeah. That was
So
very
anybody
good
who
of them.
wants to go and see Delish, they would be well advised to do the smart thing and get a ticket.
Yes, the
Yes.
tickets are on
Yes.
Eventbrite, and we have a page. Of course, it's just Ireland's alternative Eurovision contest, and the link for the Eventbrite is on that. Or if you even look it up there, so you can get the tickets on there. Obviously, you're guaranteed entry if you have a prepaid ticket. But after that, like, it is just kind of first come, first served.
Plus, we've got a fabulous host as well.
which
gonna
is
be
Veda.
amazing.
Yeah, Veda is hosting on the night.
Before we schlep off, tell us about the charity again, because it's also, we've got a good cause here. So just tell us once more, Amanda, about that.
Yes, well, Dogs Aid is a charity in Dublin. It would be the charity that Linda supports herself. I got to know Dogs Aid many, many years ago because when I worked with Linda, she organised me to foster this dog, and his name was Toby. And I had him he lived till he was 17, so I had him for a number of years, and he became very, very close to my heart. And he died about a year ago.
Yeah.
So I decided I wanted to fundraise and do something to kind of help.
Unfortunately, we're going to run out there. Delish, are we going to see you in town again soon?
Oh, very much so. You're going to see me on the 10th, and I'm going to be doing some big live vocals from my Delicious Unplugged series.
Okay. I'm Mick Fitz. I'll be back in a week's time or thereabouts.
Thank you.
My world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say I am.